So, welcome to you all on Christmas Eve Day 2024. We're here with Irwin Luck, who's going to be giving a Christmas message, Baba talk that we are all going to want to hear.
But, I think it's really also important, before I locate this, to just make mention that the God state of consciousness that Baba is in is so different than what we experience. We have our own experience where we see ourselves separate from everyone and everything. That's our experience. And we expect that we see this as the reality of our life. Our everyday life is built on that. Baba, on the other hand, has explained his experience, which was so different. He sees himself as one with everything. In other words, he sees himself as everything, as everyone, the one self behind all the bodies and minds of everybody. Now you try that one out. Try seeing yourself as the one self that is behind the bodies and minds of everybody. There is only one self. There isn't two selves. There's only one. And that's what Baba said, that when he realized God, he experienced himself as the only one in existence. Well, if you see that, that's different than what we see. We see ourselves, as I said, separate from everyone and everything. And we don't see ourselves everywhere in everything. It's a different consciousness. And yet, Baba said this is the goal. This is what we have to attain and to get to the consciousness that he has. So he's telling us that God is not someone else out there. It is a state of consciousness latent within your own self. You have to experience it. And that is the whole spiritual path. The spiritual path is to experience what you really are, that you are everything, that you are infinite, and that you're not just limited as we are experiencing things now. Oh, here it is. Okay, good. Judy is a big help, let me tell you. She knows just what to do. And the reason I say that is because she found my Christmas message. I wrote this yesterday because I wanted everybody, because they asked me, they said, we want a Christmas message. So I said, what message? So I said, okay. And here it is. Jesus Christ and Buddha too. God's realization is the same for everyone. If you don't believe me, just ask the man who has it. He is the one who told me. Love is the same for everyone. If you don't believe me, just fall in love or love your kid or any family member and see if love is the same, more or less, for everyone on our planet. Back to Jesus and Meher Baba, who said he was him back then. I'll read that last line. Back to Jesus and Meher Baba, who said he was him back then. Both had lots of love for everyone and would talk about being enlightened. You can't get much higher than that. So I said to myself, I never met the highest before. I will go meet him. I will go meet him. So I did. I liked him right away. He also gave me a big hug and kissed me on my cheeks. He asked, what do you want? I said, to be like you. He said, stay close. Then wherever he went, he took me with him. Lots of people flocked around him, just like in the old days when his name was Jesus. Names change, Bodies change, but he does not change. Now, here is the secret to recognizing him. His love is the same. It hasn't changed a bit. Now, have a Merry Christmas. How about that? That's how you recognize it. It's very simple. Prophets, according to biblical statements, said that he would come down in the clouds. So he did, in an airplane. They didn't know about airplane in those days. You know, he wants to share what he is with everybody. When Baba said he would appear in 1,000 places simultaneously, he did. You watch television, how many places can you appear at once? More than 1,000, maybe 1,000,000. And you do. And it isn't just where he is saying, where he makes it exclusive to himself. It's also for everybody as well. So this is how I see things. When I heard about Mayor Baba, I wanted him to show me God. I mean, here's a person who says he is God realized that he can do this. He says that even if the worst scoundrel stood before me and I had the wish, I can make him realize God in less time than the flash of a second. So I said, that sounds good to me. I think I want to go meet him. I want to see what's going to happen because I would like to see God. I would like to know what it is that I've been hearing about from all these preachers and from everybody, you know, the Bibles, one Bible after another, one religion after another. They all talk about the Supreme Being. Let me see it already. Let me see what they're talking about. What is he experiencing? Well, I didn't know that you could experience what he is experiencing. At that time, I didn't know that until he explained it. So the truth of the matter is, like I tell my Judy, I don't know nothing. Here I am giving this big, long talk. I don't know anything except what he explained to me. And that's what I pass on to whoever listens. You know, you want to hear what Baba had to say, according to me, this is what he told me. This is what he's telling everybody, actually. It's not just me. So so if anyone has any questions, you can ask me. This is a Zoom, which means that we're all together on this here and we can interact. So if you want to interact and you have a question or so about anything that I'm talking about, then feel free to ask.
Yeah, feel free to ask. If you want to raise your hand, you can do that. And I actually was asking Irwin a question earlier, and I said, well, I don't mean to put you on the spot. And he said, put me on the spot. So why don't you do that?
Yeah, this is the
Anybody?
spot, so put me on.
Hey, Irwin, can you hear me?
I
Yeah,
hear you good.
Hey, how are you guys? Jay Baba.
Mayor Baba. Yes,
Oh,
go ahead.
okay. Inquiring about God realization. Why is time an issue? Meaning, hey, I want God realization, as I'm sure everyone else does. Why not right now?
Well, you know, that's what I wanted, just what you said. And there's an incident that occurred around that. When I was with Mayor Baba, and you know, he understood that I wanted him to show me God. I wanted to see that. And he told me some interesting things about that, as to what would happen. But then I said, but when? I was pressing him. I kept pressing him. When are you going to do this? And Baba, then he was just he was very nice. He just calm. He listened to everything. And then he said, okay, in 6 months. So now I know in 6 months, whenever that is, in his time,
Yeah.
experience God realization now, just the way I wanted it at the time, because there is no other moment in time except now.
Hmm.
It has no before, it has no after. In imagination, you can imagine the past in memory, or you can anticipate the future in imagination. You can imagine the future. It all has to happen in the now. So when God realization occurs, in my case, it will be in now. It will be in the now, just when I wanted it, you see. So we can look at it that way. It depends how you want to see things. And this is the way I see it now. Now, this is the way I see it now because I can't imagine anything else at this point, nor at the time when I was with Baba, because Baba has his own time. And his time is not our time. His time, in my opinion, is always in the now. There is no other moment that exists. So there you have my answer. I hope it's an answer.
Yes, thank you, Jai Baba.
You're almost welcome. You're welcome. Good.
Does anyone else want to ask a question? Because I'll jump in if no one does, but
You better jump in.
I'll jump in. I'll jump in now. Okay. Um, Baba wanted our love, and of course he loves us. And we know that in the book Creation and Its Causes, he was telling the boys to create Prem. And so what I'm asking you is, what do you think is a good way to help develop our love for Baba?
You already have it. You see, everybody is automatically, just by their existence, a lover. There isn't anybody that doesn't have love. It's like I said in my poem, you can love your kid, you can love, fall in love, I mean, love is always there. Now Baba is saying directed to me, because if you stick to him, then it's possible for your sanskaras, all these mind impressions that you have evolved consciousness with, to be dispersed so that the consciousness remains, but without all those impressions to block your experience of your own self, because it all comes back to you. You and Baba are not two, you're one. But at this stage in our life, we see things in multiplicity, so we don't see it as one. But just the same, it's always that way. And this is what Baba is telling us in this Advent. He's explaining that God is not someone else. He is a state, God is a state of consciousness latent in everybody. You have to experience it, though, in order to enjoy the limitlessness of your being. You can't enjoy that without all the things that stand in the way and block it to be removed. They have to be removed, and then it's automatically experienced, and you experience the infinite love and existence of your eternal and everlasting being. You're not even perishable. Bodies are perishable and will die, but the inhabitant in the body, we inhabit a body that's eternal. That has no beginning and no end, because that's the God state in you. And this is a new thing that he's explaining to the world. I don't ever remember reading this anywhere else where anybody else ever even said anything like it. They always made you think that God was someone else, that if you pray to him, maybe he'll give you, do what you want. You know, you can ask for favors, you can ask for things that you lack in your everyday life. According to Baba, you're asleep, dreaming, thinking it's real, because your consciousness is so acute that every detail of this illusion looks real to you. So you think it's real, and that's the life you live. But he said that when you wake up in the real sense, then you will see that what I said is so. that it's all illusion. It was not real. And that only the infinite being that you are, the infinite love, the infinite power, the infinite existence that you are, the dreamer is real, but not the dream. You get it? You're living in a dream that looks real. And put it that way, nice and simple. And then, but you got to wake up, because the only way out of a dream is to wake up. You can't dream yourself out of the dream. So there you have it. This is Baba's news, the thing that he wants the world to understand. He's the awakener. Why is he called the awakener? He said, I've not come to teach it. I've come to awaken. It's got to be woke up. So how do you get woke up? You stick to him. And if you can love him, you love him. If you can't love him and like him, you like him. You start with something, or you just want to associate with him, associate with him. Start with that. And then gradually all these other qualities begin to emerge, because Baba himself is so lovable. It'll be hard not to love him. And it all happens very naturally. You don't have to force yourself into anything. I want to love him. How am I going to do it? Well, how do you love anybody? They don't tell you love me and then all of a sudden you love them. No, you associate with them and you be with them, and then you find them lovable, and before you know it, you really like them a lot, and then you go to love them. Also, it don't matter even if it's a duck or a cat or a kitten. You can love. Love is spontaneous. It doesn't require a whole big thinking to go on with it. The mind will think, that we have, but when it comes to the hard qualities of feelings, you have an emotional body for that, and then you can love with that. That's how you love. I hope I understood one word that I said. What did I say?
That sounded wonderful. You know, while you were talking, it made me think of a quotation that I came across that I like very much, and so I copied it and stuck it on my cabinet over there. It's one sentence. Baba says,
Let me just backtrack one thing. What you asked is really a very common question, to love Baba more. How do I love Baba more?
yeah,
And what I was saying is all has to be done naturally.
yeah.
It's usually done through association.
Mhm.
But it has to be natural. You can't force yourself, I'm going to love. You see, it don't work that way. It never did work that way, and it never probably ever will. But through association and finding the person, he's in your corner and he loves you and he likes you and he says so. Then before you know it, you have a feeling towards the person, you begin to love the person. And that's how it is. Even all these sanskaras, you might say, things that you feel that you could better yourself in certain ways. And this, I found that the best way to better myself was just to hang around Baba, because these things all seem to fall off. You see, it's just as you in that atmosphere of what Baba is in his presence, it just falls off. You don't have to think about, how you're going to get better and what you're going to have to do. And I felt guilty about, I did something to somebody or they did something to me. The whole thing just passes off. People very worried about politics. They see this guy and I don't like him. And then other people, they say, but I like him, and it goes on like this here. This is all historic. Politics has been going on for ages. And there's been the good guys and the bad guys. Some guys more for themselves, and other guys try to help the people. But what is it all? It's just the mind working, the mind finding causes to be able to assist or help others or help yourself. This has been going on for ages. Well, when you with Baba, the master, all of that disappears. He's not a politician. He's not out for these causes. His cause is only one, and that is to enlighten you. He wants you to see your infinite self, in which you require nothing from anybody. It's all there now in you. You can express it, and it can be there all the time. But the main thing is that you see that there's only one behind all the bodies and minds of everyone. And when that one comes into the world of imagination to help others that need to be experiencing this enlightenment that he has, then he is capable of doing that because he has it. As they say that a candle that's lit can light many others, but if it's not lit, it can't light anybody. So don't go to anybody that is not God realized and expect to get anywhere. You have to go to the one that is got that experience of enlightenment to be enlightened yourself. And it's association. That's what I believe. That's what I found. It's not a belief. It's just, this is the way I see it works. And like my Judy says, the best plan is the one that works. The best plan has always been the one that works. Right, Judy? There she is. She's over here. Gotta see her.
Oh.
Is she there? There she is.
There she is. So before I call on, we have two hands up, but before I call on them, I just wanted to share this because it's connected with what you're saying. And this is a quotation from Be True to Your Duty, which is a publication from Baba. And this is the statement. He says, the more you think of me, the more you will realize my love for you. And I think that's pretty nice too.
Yeah. Focusing on Baba has always been the highest meditation that there is, because he is the highest. So if you want the highest, you got to focus on the highest.
Thank you.
Even in the world of logic, there's a logic to this. And actually you can, I've had the good fortune to be around Baba. Of course, that helps a lot. But one of the things that I came away with is that you don't have to work so hard. You don't have to try so hard. There's no trying. You're with the enlightener, you're with the awakener. He has to wake me up. That's his job. You see, if he had a job description, which is what people called upon to have when they want to go for a job, that's his job. He has the job description of enlightening and awakening others. There's nothing else that he is interested to do. When you are all powerful and all knowing, what are you going to do? Do you ever think of that? Oh, all of a sudden I'm all powerful, I'm all knowing. What do I do now? I'm living in eternity. There is no beginning or end to me. I'll be here forever, always. So what do you do then? Well, you want to help somebody to be like you, because that's what you are, you see. You go to school, the teacher wants you to learn to be like what they teach and to be like them. So there you go.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And now we're going to have another question. This is from Scott.
Hi,
Yes.
hi, Irwin. This is Judy, and Scott and I are here together, watching you, listening. I have a question about angels and spirits. It's my understanding it's in the subtle realm. What determines whether you become an angel or a spirit? And do human beings, can they go through that, an angel and a spirit? I don't know anything about that.
It depends on your sanskaras as to what your mind impressions are that you have evolved with. And all of these spirits, angels, from these different levels. You see, Baba spoke about the spiritual path, which is the path that takes you through the higher planes of consciousness. Religions, they more or less have only gone so far as to say the rituals and ceremonials and traditions to be followed, but that's not the spiritual path. The spiritual path really is the path that you have to traverse through the higher planes of consciousness, in which you developed all the abilities and powers and the beauty of what you see. And that's why it's very hard for these people that get to the first plane or the second, third planes, where there's all this energy at their command, or the mind, levels of the mind, the mental worlds. It's very difficult for them to want to proceed. In fact, they even think they've reached the end of the path and have realized God, because they become so capable. However, Baba comes into the world and he shows them their limits and that there's still more to go. So then they get freed from their view of what they think they are and all like that. This is what Baba has done, especially when he contacted these musts who were on these various planes of consciousness. So it all has to do with the impressions that you have and that you're experiencing, as to whether you experience your angelic form, which is an energy form, or any other level that there is. There is no end to what the levels are. But Baba divided them up into 7. He said there were 7 planes, but these planes all have their subdivisions. And it reminds me of this woman. We were in Pakistan, and there was a woman that we were going to film, who had met and where Baba would come. Anyhow, we were told that Baba would visit her, and in those days when he was traveling about, he would visit her. And one day he said to her, "I'm so pleased with you that I want to grant you anything that you would like. Whatever you want, just say what it is." It could be that she wanted to be a ruler. She could have been a beautiful. She could be younger. Whatever you want. He was capable. Baba could give you whatever you want. So Baba said to her, "Whatever you want, I'm very pleased with you. Just tell me." So what did she say? She says that she wants that he should show her his to take her out and to show her how he works, what his work is. And she wanted to know everything that he does. Well, this is not the common question that most people had thought to ask. But she asked that. She wants to know what his work is, what he does, and how he runs. Yeah, here's the way it was said. She wanted to know how he runs the universe. Ah, there it is. Now, from that night on, she said that Baba would take her away, take her out of her body, and he would begin to show her all the different planes, the different experiences that these souls have, who his chargemen were in different regions of the universe. And it was really quite cosmic, the things that he was showing her. And this went on, one thing after another, the past and the future, and oh boy, what she didn't see. She was seeing everything, whatever he would take her to see. So then she, after a couple of years, of this going on, she said to Baba one day when he was visiting in his physical form to the house, she said, Baba, you've shown me everything, but there's one thing you haven't shown me. Baba said, tell me what? You haven't shown me yourself. Oh, when she said that, and everything stopped. He didn't take her anywhere else, nothing else, because now she asked the real question to see the reality, not the dream of all the cosmos, the cosmic dream that he was working with and charged with to enlighten others. No, no, no. This was now, it was the real thing. And nothing further was done because she came, in my view, when she said that, in my view, she came to ask the real question. I want to see you as you really are. And Baba would tell us at the time when I was present there, many times he would say, I'm not this body. Don't mix me up with the body. You have to see me as I really am. That's how I thought, yes, that's a good thing. I'd like to see this. This is what I want to see. But then that was for her as well. You see, that was the thing. That's what we have to see him, because he was telling everybody this. It wasn't just me. He was telling everybody, you have to see me as I really am. Because when you see him as he really is, then you will actually see yourself as you really are, because you're all one. Get it?
Irwin,
Right.
are you talking about Mayor Baba's effulgence? To see Baba as his effulgence?
He didn't explain what you would see. He said only, you have to see me as I really am. So whatever, look, if you haven't seen it, you can't say what it is.
Uh-huh.
I don't think so. So I said, okay, to myself, I said, yeah, no, that's good. I want to see that. And that's what she would have to see too. You see, Baba and you are one, but we at our level do not see the oneness of us.
No,
We
I
see
know.
separateness. You see, we see Baba's there and I'm here. You see, you're there and I'm here. And we see the separateness. That's the level we're at. Now
But he did instruct
now
people.
he's talking about a different level, which is his. And then he's saying now that's what you're going to have to see.
So he did instruct people certain people I've read, to sit and meditate on him, to visualize him, and
Well, you can,
yeah.
you can. At our level, why not? You can do that. And then look,
It may not last, in
think
other
a lot
words,
pertains to sincerity. How much do you really want to know him as he really is?
so.
That counts. Sincerity counts in this world of Mayor Baba and his love and what you have to experience of the truth of what really is going on. See, Baba wants to show you what's really going on. You're not going to see it on TV. The TV
No, but
will
unless,
tell you what everyday things are going on. But but this is not what the avatar does. The avatar has a different mission. He wants to take you to the source of all existence. You can't even imagine what he's talking about. And it's the source of all existence. What is that? You see? But it sounds good. It sounds like something, boy, but this would be a fantastic thing. Whatever it is that he can do that to make us that way. But he comes into the world for that purpose. And he says so. How did I know? He said it. He's telling everybody this. So when you hear something like that, you say, it sounds good. I think I'll stick with it. At least that's how
Stick with it until it's his timing, right? Because he
Yeah,
has
it
to
does
turn the
because you
key.
love him. Because if you love him, you'll stick to him. And if you stick to him, you're going to eventually experience the reality that he is, that he experiences. See, that's the
By
thing.
his grace. By his grace. Thank you,
We
Irwin.
have consciousness. We have consciousness, and that consciousness in the human form is necessary in order to realize the God state that you are, that's latent in you. You see, it's latent. It has to be.
Very latent.
It's very latent, right? Nice and latent. But I wouldn't even know that if he didn't explain it. I mean, how do I know that? He told us that. He said, the reason you say I'm God is because I say I'm God. So there you have that too.
Yes.
Ah,
Oh, gosh.
So
Thank
Irwin, are you ready for the next question?
I'm always ready for a question.
Okay, well, Ron has one. Do you want to go ahead, Ron?
Well, I actually I wanted to share a couple of things that came up from what you've said so far, and then get your feedback on it. So it's not going to be in the form of a question necessarily, but you might be familiar with this to some extent or not. But one of the things that I have been thinking about for so many years is if someone were to ask me, so you follow Mayor Baba, what is that? How do you do that? What's your practice? And the thing that comes to mind is to remember him and to think of him more than I think of myself. If that could happen, that would be the aim. So, because Baba has said many times that he loves to be remembered and thought of, and I think he probably said that when you were with him, Irwin, or it came across that way. So that's one thing. The other thing is, once I was reading a section in Lord Mayhare, and Baba was just having a conversation with some people, Baba lovers, Mondali, I don't know, I can't remember exactly who it was, but one of the people that was either in the conversation or referred to in the conversation happened to be addicted to drinking alcohol. And Baba took the opportunity when this idea of addiction came up, and he said this. He said, if you become addicted to God, then all your problems are solved. Go on drinking the divine wine of love until you become one with God. It is good to be addicted to the love of God.
Well, there it is.
That seems to fit with the idea of it just unfolding in the most natural way, because I think these addictions, you don't really have to try very hard to love what you're addicted to.
You know, there is something that did happen, and that is that Dr. Goer in those days was asking Adele, you may not know that by name, to send different items to the Mandali, and some of them would be used for Baba. So she told me about this at that time. And I said, well, if there's anything that has to be sent to Baba, just let me know. And if you can't find it or get it, me and my brother Edward, we will get it. We will find it, and we'll send it there. So there was something that she wanted that she couldn't find, and it had to do with some dietetic chocolates that was of a special brand, very difficult to locate. So she told me, she said, I can't find this here. Maybe you can find it. So sure enough, I checked in different places and whatnot, and we both found it, and And then we sent it to Baba, these chocolates. But before we sent it, we enclosed a little note inside the wrapper. It was, you know, these Hershey bar wrappers that you have. Well, it wasn't a Hershey bar, but it was a chocolate. And it was this dietetic type. Anyhow, it was what they wanted. So we would put a little note in because we knew that Baba would open it and then he would read the notes, you see? So the note would say, we're so happy to be able to be with you as the highest of the high, or some really beautiful, you know, so loving, something loving. And then what happened after some time, when Baba was receiving these, after some time, he sent a cable to us and he said, "You're sweetening my mouth now with chocolates. One day I will sweeten your mouth with divine wine." So I've been telling people, look, you hang around because when the tavern master wants to pour the wine, the divine wine, he doesn't ask questions as to who's there. He just does it, and you hang around, and you don't have to do anything. That's all it takes. So be close, stay close. And that's what Baba told me when I was with him at that time. It had nothing to do with the chocolates, but he just said, stay close, because I wanted to experience the real thing, you see. And that was his, and so wherever he went in those days, wherever he went, he would take me along with him, wherever he was going. And this lasted for like 2 weeks while I was there. So that's what happened. You know, we make a lot out of what the struggle is to gain God or to find God or to get over addictions. I'm telling you, the easiest thing that I ever saw was you hang around, you get as close to him as you can. Now, if it's true, he's not in his physical form now. So mentally, we can do this here also, you know, and thinking of him and whatever, you know, he's there all the time assisting. Before I started this talk, I always do one thing before I give a talk. I just let you know. I talk to Baba. No, he's not physically present, but I talk to him because in the mental world, there are no restrictions. There is no difficulties. Distance doesn't mean anything. So he hears everything of all the minds of everybody that is within his universal mind, contains the minds of all beings, everybody. And it all happens instantly, not like here it takes time. No, there everything is instant and he picks it right up. So what I ask Baba, I tell him, I said, Baba, I don't know everything anyhow. I don't know. There's so many people, they're going to be listening. Everybody has their own viewpoints based on their past and everything and their culture and what. I don't know all that. So why don't you just let people hear whatever you want them to understand and to feel, so that they can have that, because you're in the minds of all persons and you would know that. And that's what I do. So then whatever comes out, that, you know, is what I feel that Bob is doing. And you can do the same thing. I mean, there's no limits here. This is not exclusive. Everybody can do like that. You just have to have a certain understanding, I think, a certain realization of his limitlessness and how you can approach him. And there's no difficulty in that, actually. In the mental, there is no difficulty. In the emotional body that you have with your feelings and love, whether you love him or not, you can always project everything to him in that manner. And it works. It works good. When I wanted to go see Baba and there was no money to do so, this is a very gross physical thing. I wanted to go there and I had no money to travel. So eventually I wrote to Baba and I told him that because he was physically present, I could do that at that time in that manner because I wanted to see him in his physical form. So he answered me and he said, don't worry, circumstances will adjust themselves. Circumstances will adjust themselves. What? How does he do this? Anything? Who cared? You know, I said, oh boy, look at this. I got this message. Bob has said that the circumstances will adjust themselves. Well, to make the story short, 2 weeks later, I'm there with him. How about that? I'm telling you, you don't have to worry so much about how you're going to do things and how you're going to give this up and that up. You present it to him. I have something else to say about that. When ever something comes up in my personal life, this has nothing to do much with the spiritual side of things, but just the personal life as things proceed in your everyday life. And there's some difficulty that comes up that I can't handle it. I don't, you know, I haven't got the means to handle it. So you know what I do? I write down on a piece of paper exactly what it is. I write it down. And there's a big picture of Baba that I have on the wall here. And I put that note by his picture. And things get resolved. How does that happen? He is conscious and he's alive. That's how it happens. You have to think of him as being existing. He tells you that himself. I'm not making it up. So he tells you that. So I do that. And things get, now when things really get intense, I mean, there's a real bigger crisis yet, then I will go one step further. And I will go over, you see where you see I'm in Myrtle Beach, so I can go over to the center at the Lagoon Cabin where Baba met people privately and individually. And I'll go into the cabin and I will talk to him there. And then that settles that. So I think that it's important for people to understand that he can hear. He actually can hear you. I don't know why I'm laughing. I think it's fantastic, you know. But anyhow, he can hear you. When people pray, they expect someone to be listening. They expect God to be listening. Well, he is your own higher self. You see, this is the thing about being one with everything. He's not someone else. He is your own higher self, which you would have to come to realize it at some point. And it's your higher self that's bringing you up. This is a brain twister, but if you can twist your brain around it, you'll get the picture. And you become one with what you are. You have to become conscious of what you are. This is the whole path. The whole path is you becoming conscious of your own unlimited self. You go from the limited self to the unlimited self. That's what happens. But it all happens gradually and in a very natural manner. You don't have to force nothing. It'll happen naturally. But you can feel good about it. I think I'm done talking about that.
Very good. Well, thank you. So,
I don't know if I answered your question. But anyhow, that's the way I see it.
well, we'll find out, Irwin, because I want to ask if anyone has a new question or a follow-up question to one that's already been asked. Well, I don't see hands. So do you have questions for us?
Do I have a question to ask you all?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that, but maybe I'll think up something.
Okay.
Sure. The thing is this, I guess if I have a question, I'd like to know how you came to know about Baba in the first place.
This, okay, so, people tend to have long stories. So what about the like 2 minute, the 2 minute scenario? Would anyone like to say something?
Sure, I'll take a crack. Hi. Hi, Erwin.
Hello.
Jay Baba, how are you?
Hi.
I should have been there earlier, but I was cleaning my house because my daughter's coming from Chicago, so. This is Farish Day and Jim. He says hello.
Yes.
Hi. Well, my 2-minute version is I was doing yoga. It's even less than 2 minutes. I was doing yoga and Baba came and said, now it's time for you to go so I can come.
Now, when you said he came to you, how did he come to you?
Holy shit. He
Was
basically,
it an appearance?
it was actually energetically, he enveloped my being so that I would not be able to go into those trance states of yoga samadhi, and protected me from the Shaktis that I was experiencing. Bad stuff. I mean, not bad stuff. It's just steps towards him. And when I had enough of that and Baba had enough of that, he said, okay, it's time for you to know who I am. And then through Stephen Chev, he came and fetched me and fished me out and shook me up.
Well, you know, Baba approaches people in many different ways. He can do it in a very natural manner, which is in most cases, I think. But then he also does not stop, doesn't hesitate to do anything in any kind of a supernatural manner. I know that the first time that I first heard about Baba myself was through a book. This Listen Humanity was the name of the book. And then I was in New York, so I wanted to find out where Baba was because I had decided to go and see him. I wanted to go see him. So there was a meeting that the New York group had, and I was so I called up the phone number that they had that I saw, and Ella Winnefeld answered the phone, and I told her I wanted to go see Mayor Baba and I needed to know where he was if they could tell me. So she says, "Why don't you come to the meeting, and then whatever you want, you know, we could talk about it." So I ended up going to the meeting. Now, this is what happened. The moment that I stepped into that room, and I'm not kidding, it was just stepping over the threshold of the, because the meeting was in their apartment at that time. There was about 15 people that would come. So the moment I stepped in, I had this feeling of such well-being. I mean, it was not an ordinary sense of feeling comfortable. This was like a super sense of well-being. And it kept growing and growing while I was in the meeting. I just growing and growing. Boy, I thought this is fantastic. How come there isn't more people here? You know, who wouldn't like to experience this? So as it continued to grow, that sense of this was like unbelievable supernatural state of being, well-being. I thought if it got any more, I'd actually see Mayor Bob appear, physically appear, you know, but it didn't get to that point, but that's what it seemed like it was heading towards that. And then afterwards, because I was under the impression that everybody was experiencing the same thing, you know, this is a meeting. So they didn't, but when I was leaving, they were all going to a coffee shop to this, you know, to talk and chatter about things. And I said to Adele, I said, you know, this is such an incredible, how come there aren't more people here? She says, oh yes, the meeting was very good. And when she said that, I knew right away, nobody had that same experience. You couldn't possibly have it and an answer like that. So that was the only time that that ever happened. But that was really sort of like a supernatural thing. Baba did not do supernatural things with me when I was with him. It was nothing of the sort. But at times when it is required to give conviction or something to initiate his who he is and what he is, he may do something like that, so that you have the understanding that he's just, not a normal, he's not an ordinary person, that he is who he says.
For sure. He actually spared no effort to get me to him.
Yeah,
There were many different varieties of things he did, which blew my mind. Yeah.
when I was traveling around filming all these people telling their stories about being with Baba, there was so many incredible tales that were told. They have a lot of these films on the YouTube now, so anybody could see it. But just to tell you that that's what it was.
Mm.
Uh,
Ron's got his hand up, and somebody met Baba moving a mattress. So I
Yes,
want.
I was going to mention that. We have Dharam Sito. I hope I said that close to correctly. Did you want to speak, or do you want me to read? If you want to unmute, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll read what you wrote in the chat.
Are you talking to me or to?
No, I'm talking to the person who put this. He made a comment. He said, Dharam Sito. He said, I was helping folks move a mattress. He said, it's an interesting tale of what happened to that mattress. But he's not unmuting, so that's all we know about him. Maybe he'll come back later. So, Marilyn, I see, Ron, you've spoken, so I'm going to call Marilyn, then we'll come back to you. Marilyn.
No, I don't know if Ron spoke on
Yeah,
on
he
what
has.
Irwin was talking about how we came to Baba, or came to know Baba.
Well, would you?
That's what I wanted to. I wanted to answer Irwin's query about how somebody came to know about Baba.
Okay, so you go first.
Okay, so there's two things that occurred in 1970 that how Baba introduced himself to me. The first was I was walking through a very crowded Coconut Grove Park, which I'm sure, Irwin, you're probably familiar with Coconut Grove Park in Miami, Florida. And somebody was handing out pamphlets, which wasn't uncommon in those days. And this fellow looked very interesting to me. And he was handing out these pamphlets. He handed it to the person I was walking with. She didn't seem to be very interested in it. So I said, can I have it? And she said, yeah, here, I don't want it. And so I looked at it and it said, the Sermon on the Mount. I wasn't really familiar with the Sermon on the Mount, but I think I had heard of it. But I said, I'm going to go read this now. And I left this person. And I went and just sat down cross-legged on the ground in Coconut Grove Park. And I opened up the pamphlet. It was a homemade thing before computers and all this. Somebody did it with a typewriter, I think. He published the Sermon on the Mount. And so when I opened it up, on the inside cover were 4 quotes by people other than Jesus. So it wasn't the Sermon on the Mount, it was 4 other quotes. And the very first one was a quote by Mayor Baba. But I don't remember what that quote said. But what I remember was that as soon as I read that quote and I saw the name Mayor Baba, I absolutely had to know who Mayor Baba was. And it just so happened that I had been reading a numerology book that said that this particular year, 1970, everything I ever needed would just come to me kind of automatically. And I believed it. And so I knew that I was going to have to find out who Mayor Baba was right then, because that was the nature of this particular year. So I looked up from where I was sitting to find somebody to ask who Mayor Baba was. Not that I knew it, that, who might know about Mayor Baba. I didn't really know, but I was expecting somebody to just tell me. I looked up and I saw this kid. He was about 15 years old. And I had met him in the park before, so I sort of knew him, and I just got up and I walked over to him and I asked him, do you know who Mayor Baba is? And he said, well, I used to hang around these people that followed Mayor Baba. And you may have known him, Irwin, because this was the Mayor Baba group in Miami. I don't know. It's possible. I don't know. I don't remember who he was or anything, but he did say, I know that Mayor Baba lived in India and he was silent for 40 years. Well, I didn't even ask him anything more because that was quite a bit to take in. I was quite intrigued by that. And I was really happy that somebody had told me who Mayor Baba was. Not that it was all that much, but I would say the next day or 2 days later, I walked into a friend who lived near that park. I used to hang out at that park in those days. But I met this woman and I stopped by to pay her a visit. So she let me in the door. She said, I'm on the phone. Just hang out here until I'm finished with my phone call. Make yourself at home. So I'm standing in her living room and I look and see on the wall opposite where I was standing, there was a little business card size photograph. And so I walked up to it to see what it was. It was the only thing on that wall. I guess somebody had like taped it on there. And when I looked at it, I saw several things. One was, it said Mayor Baba. So I knew that this was a photograph of Mayor Baba. I was quite happy to be able to see what he looked like. The next thing was, it said, don't worry, be happy. And those things were very powerful things for me to hear, because at one point, just maybe a month or two earlier, I had decided that worrying was a waste of time. And I just concluded that I was never going to do that again because it was a waste of time. And I was trying to not do that, waste my time. So I love that fact that he was saying, don't worry. And also being happy seemed to be one of the things that was something that I longed for. So I like that. But all of that tailed in the idea of what I was experiencing looking at Mayor Baba, which was I recognized it. But the thing about recognizing him, it was a very unusual type of recognition. I recognized that he had known me since the beginning of time. Now, the idea that I should recognize him as the person, as one who has known me since the beginning of time, was completely foreign to me. What in the world could that mean? I had no idea what it meant. So just to conclude, I walked up to this person whose apartment it was, and I said, you got to tell me about Mayor Baba. And she said, who? I said, Mayor Baba, like on the card on your wall. He said, oh, somebody put that up last night. I don't even know who it was, but I don't know anything about Mayor Baba. So I didn't really find out much more until I met Edward Luck at the Atlanta Rock Festival. He told me a little bit more about Baba. That was how Baba initially made contact.
Yeah, you met the right one.
Do we hear from Marilyn now? Thank you for that, Ron. That's a good story. Marilyn.
Yeah, that's a really good story. A great story, Ron. Wow. So, I was just going to share a dream that I had when I first heard about Baba. So that sort of solidified everything for me. Back in 1977, I guess, and I was out in the Hamptons, and a friend of mine who was with somebody who was with Baba at this point in time. I was having all these dreams, and he said to her, you must go and bring this Baba card. She's ripe for God. And she herself didn't know how she felt about Baba, so she didn't really want to, but she did. And she gave me the Don't Worry, Be Happy card. And, I liked it. Baba's great smile, and that night, that very night, I had a dream, and I grew up out on the island in a house, with 2 floors and a basement, I guess it was. Anyway, so in the dream, Baba came to the house, and the funny thing is, I think I kicked him before we went in. I don't know what that could possibly mean. But he takes me inside, the house where I was actually, I grew up in that house, and I was born in the hospital down the street. He takes me upstairs into my parents' bedroom, and he kind of like opens his hand, like, inside it goes, "I love you." And I go, "I love you too." And someone said, "Baba gave you that." It was not easy for me, my childhood and everything. So they said, "He gave you that so that you would be able to manage what you had to go through." So I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, that was a nice thing for me to experience at that time, for sure. It did bring me ever closer to Baba, I think, because I wasn't a big reader, and I just clung to his love because that's what I had from him. And I'll tell you something recently, Irwin. Now I'm visiting my mom here in Florida, and after quite a long separation, and she's 95 and needs some help. And it was a really big trauma for me to get here and work through things. And he just did it. He helped so much. Unbelievable. He still is. And so recently I had a dream that my mom and I went to a big Baba gathering, and people were taking darshan, and Baba was in a room sitting in his chair, and my mom went in and he embraced her, and then I went in and he embraced me as well, and that was very, very sweet. So thank you to Baba for that. So I think my mom's been with Baba for a long time. So thank you, Jai Baba.
Thank you, Marilyn, for sharing that beautiful dream.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Diana.
Well, I don't see any other hands up, and I think we might be winding down unless someone has something they want to say. Well, do we have any last words, Irwin, or should we just say Jai Baba?
Well, yes, there is one last thing. I started off by reading this Christmas message, which after having talked for quite a while, hearing everyone else as well, I think I'm going to end it by reading it again, because now it'll have even more meaning. Go. If I can. All right. Jesus Christ and Buddha too. God realization is the same for everyone. If you don't believe me, just ask the man who has it. He is the one who told me. Love is the same for everyone. If you don't believe me, just fall in love. And if you don't believe me, just fall in love or love your kid or any family member and see if love is the same, more or less, for everyone on our planet. Back to Jesus and Mayor Baba, who said he was him back then. Both had lots of love for everyone. and would talk about being enlightened. You can't get much higher than that. So I said to myself, I never met the highest before. I will go meet him. So I did. I liked him right away. He also gave me a big hug and kissed me on my cheeks. He asked, "What do you want?" I said, "I want to be like you." He said, "Stay close." Then, wherever he went, he took me with him. Lots of people flocked around him, just like in the old days when his name was Jesus. Names change, bodies change, but he does not change. Now here is the secret to recognizing him. His love is the same. It hasn't changed a bit. Now, have a Merry Christmas.
Jai Baba, thank you so much, Irwin.